Hello, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Michael Coscia, and I love being part of the Strong Words community. I'm not going to rap because I can't. I can barely speak sometimes. But anyways, I attended my very first Strong Words on March 18th, 2017. The stories I heard that night ran the gamut of emotions, and I cried, I laughed, I sighed, I giggled. I was in complete awe of the storytellers and the writing. And that night lit a fire in me, and I knew then that I wanted to be one of them. I attended Strong Words for months and months and months before I gathered the courage to submit a story to Larry Dean Harris. Now, I remember the exact moment I pressed send on the email because panic set in, and I convinced myself that Larry Dean Harris would hate my story and promptly hit delete. A few nerve-wracking days later, he wrote back saying he loved my story and he wanted me in a future show. I was absolutely thrilled, yay. But then panic set in again because I was now going to tell my personal story, this quirky little story, in front of people, in front of other storytellers. And I had never done that before because I was a virgin storyteller. I practiced and I practiced and I practiced, and the night I told my story, June 16th, 2018, a year later, it was truly magical. Everyone, oh, take my picture. Was that the best side of me? Anyways, everyone was so kind to me, welcoming me with open arms and open ears. I felt like one of them. It was really a life-changing moment for me as a writer and as a new storyteller. And for that, I'm forever grateful to Strong Words and Larry and Marlena and Michael. And now all I want to do is tell and write stories, funny stories, sad stories, silly stories. I just love stories. And our next storyteller, what can I say? When I first experienced Rose Abdoo for the first time at Strong Words, it was truly wow, wow, wow. I was mesmerized, a little bit in love too. I think she's a storyteller extraordinaire. She is truly one of my favorites, and my heart skips beats. I get so excited when she's around. And here's your chance to see and hear what I'm talking about. Please welcome Rose Abdoo.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Oh, my goodness. Hello. Is this proper? Is this right? Technical things. Everybody, February is the love month. Not just because of Valentine's Day, but because my parents met, fell in love, and got married in 3 days. In 1960, they met February 16th, and they married February 19th. So around our house, February was not only for Valentine's Day, but it was really the love month. I said to my parents, how did you know, after only 3 days, that you wanted to spend the rest of your lives together? And my mother said, Rosemary, I'm going to tell you something very important. When you know, you know. That's it. My father, Peter, was born and raised in Detroit and living in Detroit, and he went to vacation in the Dominican Republic where my mother, Maria de Los Angeles, age 32, was living. Do you know something, honey? By then, everybody thought I was like an old maid. I said, Mom, how did you know? Well, we met at a beautiful party, and his eyes light up behind his glasses when he saw me. So, that's love. I said, Dad, how did you know? How did you know Mom was the one? Well, there was a real nice party, and there was a big buffet table. And your mother, she fixed me a real nice plate. That's it. So I concluded that love must mean something to do with eyes lighting up and food being served. My father traveled back to the United States, And he wrote to my mother every single day. Well, I wanted to call her, but those long distance rates were out of control. Stay off the phone, girls. He traveled back to Dominican Republic on May 1st with his brother, the Roman Catholic priest. You see, girls, Daddy's brother is a Monsignor, so we were going to get married in the church on May 1st, but not everybody have the red carpet. But because Daddy's brother is the Monsignor, we have the red carpet. Most people have the white carpet. They don't have the red carpet. So people thought we were royalty. Really, I felt like Princess Grace. So their church wedding took place, and after the ceremony, my father said, there we were in the car on the way to the reception, and all the little Dominican kids are crowding around the car. We couldn't get through traffic. Well, of course they were crowding around. They had never seen anything like that before. We were like royalty. And then Daddy had a pocket of change, and it was so embarrassing, but it was kind of good. He threw the money out the window of the car. You should have seen those little Dominican kids scatter. So I concluded that love must mean something to do with the desire to communicate every day, and you can throw money at a problem. Our whole lives, my parents celebrated 2 anniversaries, February 19th and May 1st. And my father always bought my mother little presents on the first day of every month. Not just May 1st, but the first day of every month. He would surprise her with like a bracelet or some chocolates or a bouquet of flowers, and one time, a popcorn popper. Do you see, girls? Daddy is allergic to corn, but Daddy wants us to have popcorn. Daddy cannot have popcorn. He wants us to have popcorn. That's love. So I concluded that love must mean something to do with surprise gifts and sacrifice. My father really admired all of my mother's talents. She can paint, she can sew. She made me shirts from scratch. She made me beautiful ties. Oh, Peter, that's true. I love to create things, and I always grew up with the maids and the cooks, so keeping house was like fun for me. They were always giggling in the kitchen, so I concluded that being in love meant you had to admire each other's talents and laugh at the same things. That stuck with me as I navigated the world of dating. I never wanted to get married. It seemed like that was magical and it worked for them, but that was for other people. And besides, my mother had said, don't try it, it doesn't work for everybody. I never wanted to get married because my whole life I just heard adults say, well, it's a lot of work. Well, why would I want to do that? I mean, love, it was just for other people, you know? I saw love tear apart my friends and my roommates. They would get depressed and they would cry and drink and there was tears and yelling and phones being slammed into cradles. Remember the days where you could slam a phone? And I dated so many people, as you can well imagine. There was that osteopath who was always wanting to serenade me with his accordion. There was that lawyer who called eyeglasses ocularia. Don't do that. And then there was a lighting designer who was very sweet, and we met at a restaurant. And in an effort to be different, instead of bringing me flowers, he brought me a bag of flour. We weren't at my house. We were at a restaurant. It's pretty great, huh? Thought it would make you laugh. It's a bag of flour. I'm like, okay. I put it under the table. We started to leave, and he said, don't forget your flour. Oh, my God. And then we went to a show, and I put it under my chair, and he said, hey, don't forget your bag of flour. I got to carry this thing all night. And I was like, this is just not for me. And after 3 days or 3 dates, if I wasn't crazy about someone, even though I wasn't trying to get married, I would just move on, you know? And sometimes the relationships would last longer than 3 days, you know? There was one that lasted a year with that nice film editor that bought me a lot of earrings, and that really nice guy who owned the court reporting business who would go to Chinatown at 2 a.m. for fried rice. I realized Postmates would have really changed a lot of my dating life. And there were 2 marriage proposals, one from an attorney who wouldn't stop smoking cigars, and the other from an actor whose last name was Bowl. And I wasn't in love with either of them, so of course I wasn't going to say yes. And besides, if I did marry the actor, how could I go through life with a name like Rose Bowl? And he wanted children, so what would we name them? Toilet? Sugar? And I knew I didn't want to get married, but I knew for sure I didn't want children. Because all of my life, all I heard was adults say, well, they're a lot of work. Why would I want to do that? I moved to LA from Chicago in 2001. In November of 2001. And 1 month later, on December 1st, 2001, I went to an art gallery party and I met John Matta. My eyes lit up when I saw him, because he had this long, shiny, smooth brown hair. He was so well dressed. He had beautiful teeth. And I just couldn't stop staring at, why does he have that long hair? And I said, we were standing in a little group, and I said, something smells good. And he said, it's me. I don't think so. And he said, no, it is. And he reached out his enormously long arms and he hugged our whole little group toward him. And it was. He asked me where I was from, and I said Chicago, and he said, you Chicago people, you come out here to LA and y'all go out and get drunk and then you marry each other. Is that true? Then he said, you know how sometimes when you're standing online and you're bored? And I said, wait a minute, where are you from that you say online instead of in the Midwest we say standing in line? He said, oh, New Jersey. Oh, okay, continue. And then he said, you know when you're standing online and you're bored so you just swallow money? No. No. No, 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 no. Nobody does that. He said, yeah, I was trying to make everybody laugh, so I just swallowed a handful of quarters. And then he did this, and I could feel them going end over end down my system. What? I was obsessed. This was our first conversation. I said, well, are they still in you? Did you pass them? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? What do you mean you don't know? You swallowed them. Did you pass them? You swallowed money. He's like, well, I don't know. I go, well, and then, of course, that Chicago Second City training kicked in. Well, turn around, let me Heimlich you so I can feed my meter. At the end of the evening, I said we had to go. My friend wanted to leave, and he said, all right, Chicago, don't go off and just get married. And I said, no, if I did get married, I would marry someone from the East. And then I was horrified because I remembered he said he was from New Jersey, and I was embarrassed. So I said, Far East, like Tokyo. What am I talking about? I got to get away from this guy. And I crossed this crowded art gallery. It was a long room. And he said, hey, Chicago. And I looked at him across the room, and his eyes widened, and he threw a quarter. Now, I have zero athletic ability, and I reached my hand up and effortlessly caught that quarter and put it in my pocket. I felt really cool, and I had chills running down my right side. And then he started pelting me with quarters. My friend Susie said, come on, Rose, let's go. I went, wait, there's money on the floor. So that first night, there were eyes lighting up, and there was money being thrown. But was it money being thrown at a problem, or was it a problem throwing money? He gave me his phone number, and we made a plan to see a show. And at the end of the show, he said, I pretty much want to call you every day. And I found myself saying, okay. I found out that he'd written a sketch show that I really liked, and he watched a television show that I was in. So there was the appreciating of talents and the desire to talk every day. Okay. On our second date, he brought me a gift. A second date of a monkey. When he clapped his hands together, he had cymbals. And a little cereal bowl with a clown at the bottom that said, "All gone." They were the kind of things I wanted but would never buy for myself. And he brought over an enormous amount of Thai food, and I spread it out on the table, and I found myself fixing him a plate from the buffet. And he said, "I really can tell I like you. You know why? I don't even care that you have more shrimp than me." So in other words, there was food being served, there were surprise gifts, and sacrifice. On our third date, he said, "You know I love you, right?" And I said, "Me too." I thought love was for other people. Love was for me? Love was for me. And we got engaged shortly after that. And then 8 years later, our families had never met, so we decided to have a party. And we thought, we might as well just have a wedding. So we got married. We got married. And marriage, it's a lot of work. It doesn't feel like work, really. And it's full of surprises. I mean, sometimes John surprises me with little gifts. Sometimes it's other kinds of surprises. Not bad surprises, but just things I didn't know about him. Like, we'll be in Walmart, and I'll say, "Hey, did you know Patti LaBelle has sweet potato pie? Should I buy a Patti LaBelle sweet potato pie?" These are the things you talk about, And he said, "Oh yeah, I opened for her once. She yelled at me." "What?" "What do you mean she yelled at you? What do you mean what?" He goes, "I told you I did stand-up comedy." And "You never told me you opened for, I've known you over 10 years at that point, and you never told me you opened for Patti LaBelle?" "Yeah, she yelled at me, and then she was really nice to my dad." "What?" Why do I have to hear about the neighbors like George wants to know if Ken's using Roundup for an hour? Why do I have to hear about the weed-killing practices of the neighbors? Why don't you tell me stuff like that? Then one time we were in Home Depot, and Raspberry Beret was playing. Of course, I was singing along, and John said, "Oh yeah, I used to talk to Prince on the phone." "What?" "When?" "Well, I worked at Martin Short. He would call up, and I would talk to him on the phone." "Why didn't you tell me you talk? This is huge. You talked to Prince? Why do I have to hear about how to get a strip screw out of the side stairs for an hour? And you're sitting on information that's interesting to me." So I don't know, it never came up. And one time, we were in the park, and I saw a little dog, and he goes, "That looks like the kind of puppy Mariah Carey likes to meet her at the airport." "What?" He goes, "Yeah, Mariah Carey's got it in her rider. She likes to be met at the airport with a handful of puppies." I said, and he said it like everybody knows that. I said, "John, how do you know that?" "Because I worked at the VH1 Fashion Awards, and Mariah Carey wanted to be met at the airport with at least 5 or 6 puppies." I said, "That is crazy." He goes, "Why? Wouldn't you want to be met at the airport with puppies?" "No, I mean, it's crazy that you never told me that." He goes, "I don't know, it never came up." I said, "John, if you would have told me some of these stories when we were courting, it really would have impressed me. Like, these are so interesting." I said, why wouldn't you bring that up earlier?" "Didn't need it." So he makes me laugh. He makes me laugh every day. And now I'm full of love. And by that, I don't mean I'm full of love. I mean I'm full up on love. I don't want to love anything else. I don't want to love anybody else. Now I love his parents. I love his family. That's more people I got to worry about. I'm done. Now he has the nerve to bring a dog into my life. I made it to the age of 53, never owning a pet. And 4 years ago, he brings a dog home. Now I love that dog. Monkey. I don't want to love anything else. Now I got to worry about my eyes, his eyes, monkey's eyes, my teeth, his teeth, monkey's teeth. Enough. I can't take it now. I love this dog. I said, "John, this is going to kill me. It's going to kill me if something happens to this dog. The dog's not going to be around forever. Now I got to deal with that." And he said to me, "Remember, they bring you joy 1,000,000 times. They only break your heart once." And it's these kinds of things that make me really believe that I met a lot of guys I couldn't live with, but I never met one I couldn't live without until I met John. A couple days ago, I was looking at my Facebook feed and I said, there's so much hate. Oh, there's so much hate being put out there. Someone's got to make love in style. Someone's got to make radical love, acts of love, fashionable, like almost enviable, like everyone's going to want to be doing it. We got to put love into the world. Someone's got to do that. And he just looked at me with those ridiculously perfect teeth. And he said, why not you? What? I have to do that? I got to talk about love? So I'm here to ask you to go forward and do something loving, not just for like someone you already love that expects it, but a random loving act every day. If each of us could just do that for someone that doesn't expect it. Because love, I thought it was for certain people, for other people, but love, love is for everybody. It's for all of us. Happy Love Month. Thank you.
What does that do?